Hey yo, what up, Fight World? It's your boy Boxing Fanatic. I'm back with another one. Keith Thurman opens up about fighting Errol Spence and why the fight never took place.
We were in camp in December for the political squeeze to put Spence in the ring. In February, he gets into another car accident, Luckily, he's got that armored tank of a truck now out there, and he was okay. But, I got into an accident before the Sean Porter fight. I remember trying to stick to my original date until my sparring partner, as I started to drop down, hit me on the forehead with us. In my eyes, we live the same life, He was an Olympian. I strive for the Olympics, And now he is unified beyond my unification. The same thing that I was trying to do, but injuries held me back, which actually allowed him to finessely get those titles, right? And then my loss to Manny Pacquiao with, Ugas, who you won the WBA from, is not Keith Thurman, period. There's truth in that, And I know the real salt is probably the salt on his wound of having to deal with critics like you and people who acknowledge, like, hey, we all expected this fight at some time, and it hit me the day he fought Ugas, because that arena that was packed, that was cheering, that was a big Spence crowd because it was Texas and everything. But, that should have been Thurman's night. That should have been Thurman versus Spence. Thurman versus Spence as two undefeated champions, unifying titles. That was what was in the works, Things didn't work out, but let's see what happens. Errol, you should thank me. If I fought you when you called me out, when you was nobody, you got paid nobody money.
Hey yo, what up, you guys? It's your boy Boxing Fanatic, back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for the latest and greatest content. Check him out. My thing from it, what I got from the video is that I think Errol Spence is probably still holding on to the fact that Keith Thurman never gave him that shot that he's always wanted, when he was just an upcoming fighter and he didn't have any belts. And, Keith Thurman was basically saying he needed to work his way up to the top. And that's how most of the fighters are doing Jerron Booth's energy right now. They're basically saying that, they're not going to give him that shot right now because he need to earn his chance. Like he gotta put some work in. But at the same time, I think that Errol Spence and Keith Thurman, maybe later on down the line, probably at 154, if Keith Thurman was to ever go up, because I did hear that Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford was supposed to be going up to 154 after this fight, if the fight even take place. But I could see a rematch if it was to take place. The fight that was supposed to be happening July 22nd or July 15th. Let's, cross our fingers, cross our T's, dot our I's, and hopefully that we can get this fight this year, because this fight has been brewing for some time now. But Keith Thurman, I think he's feeling a little salty, just a little bit, because in the video you can clearly hear him say, that fight against Errol Spence and Yordenis Ugas, with all of the fans in the stadium, in the crowd, like it's supposed to be Spence versus Thurman. And I could have seen that fight, happening. But I think if Keith Thurman would have gave Errol Spence his shot way back when, and Keith Thurman was saying that he would have just got, upcoming money, which, like, it wouldn't have been no money. But now Keith Thurman basically saying that the fight, it should happen, it should take place, and that they both can get paid the amount of money that they both deserve, and that at that time wasn't gonna get. Yeah, that fight can happen. But this long anticipated fight that everybody's been wanting is the Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford fight, and that they have been in negotiation, and that this fight is supposed to take place. But
Everybody been coming out with so many dates, saying this and saying that. Fight been pushed off so many times. Terrence Crawford curve Errol Spence at the last minute, had a fight already bagged up. And let's just hope that the same thing don't happen. The first time, the fight was supposed to happen. But let's just hope that this don't happen this time, because they have been talking on the phone. Errol Spence just did a show did a show on the rocks with his girl, and basically saying that he don't want to fight nobody else and that he want to fight Terrence Crawford, and he's been dying to fight Terrence Crawford. And I know Terrence Crawford want to fight Errol Spence, which I can see this fight being a 50-50 fight. It can go both ways. I'm just stuck in between, as I like both fighters, but my heart is stuck on Errol Spence because I think he has the dog in him, even though Terrence Crawford got the dog in him. I just think when it comes down to it, Errol Spence is going to take over, because Terrence Crawford he's not a slow fighter, but he just he like to figure you out and then try to dominate. But it might be too late. By the time Errol Spence going to get going, he already done broke you down, and then he dominating you. So the fight can go either way. Terrence Crawford is the most gifted fighter. He got the happy feet. Like I've always said, Ryan Garcia got happy feet. Devin Haney got happy feet. They not flat-footed. Terrence Crawford can move around the ring, and Errol Spence is always in position to punch. We seen Terrence Crawford get dropped by Velasquez. We seen him get hurt by Yorkis Gamboa, but he ended up coming back and winning the fight. We seen Errol Spence get his mouthpiece knocked out by Yordenis Ugas, and he took his eyes off of Yordenis Ugas, but Yordenis Ugas still couldn't knock him out. So Errol Spence got a chin on him, and he done been through so much with the eye injury, the car accident, and he still came back and dominated Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, Yordenis Ugas, and he still put on a hell of a performance. So we know he's God gifted, even though Terrence Crawford has been shot. He's God gifted too. So I think they both have a lot to give in this fight. I think that Errol Spence has it more, and it's just gonna come down to who wanted more at the end of the day. And if Terrence Crawford can't figure out what Errol Spence is doing, it might be too late. Errol Spence like to break eye sockets and break ribs and noses, and Terrence Crawford can knock you out. So we just gotta wait and see if this fight take place, because Steven Espinoza, he came out before the Gervonta versus Ryan Garcia fight and said that the fight, they were supposed to announce the fight, but they didn't announce the fight. And now, and then Spectrum came out with their whole thing with Showtime, saying when they was gonna have their fights, and Direct TV said that they had Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence July 22nd. So we just hoping that this fight can happen for the fans and for Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, because Terrence Crawford trying to do something. He trying to become 2-time undisputed champion, and this could be Errol Spence first time becoming undisputed. So man, this is a legacy fight for the both of them, and I know they wouldn't want to go their whole life after their career is over with and boxing is over with, and they see each other and be like, man, why we didn't do this and why we didn't do that, why this fight didn't took place, and they still back at square one. Man, they both just I heard that they came to an even agreement. They even purse split, that they're gonna get this and they're gonna get that. So hopefully we can get this fight for the fans. And that's just my take on for what Keith Thurman was basically left out in the dark, and Keith Thurman still feels some type of way about it. But hopefully he can get a shot at I don't want to say workers, because he's been out the ring for a year, And going in there with somebody like Errol Spence, that wouldn't be good for him right now. Being out of the ring for a whole year. I mean, Errol Spence been out of the ring, but you know he's been training, and Keith Thurman has been training too as well. But hopefully, if Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford make this fight, I love to see Keith Thurman versus your Dennis Ugas. That'll be a great matchup. And then the winner fight, say either Boots or Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence out of the three. And or I love to see Speedy Rashida Ellis in that too. So let's just hope that they can make these fights happen for the fan. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. All right, one love, one life. I'm out. Peace.
A few moments later.
If you enjoy content like this and you want to see more, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.